Hello everybody, E here. Welcome back to another book review. Today we are talking about a book that I do not know how to talk about, but I'm going to give my thoughts. Hopefully I don't come off wrong. If I do, oh well, such is life. We're talking about The Trees by Percival Everett, which is a book that hit my radar because I was looking for literary crime fiction. No real reason. I was just looking for literary crime fiction. This was very, very highly rated. It won the Booker Prize. No, sorry, it did not win. It was shortlisted for the Booker Prize in 2022. Um, Instead of telling you what I feel it's about, I'm going to go off the description. I'm going to waste some of your time and read the description for you, and then I'm going to tell you what actually occurs in the book with as few spoilers as possible. I will let you know ahead of time if I'm about to spoil something important. So, A Blistering Tale of Revenge in the Deep South by the iconoclastic Percival Everett. This is also my first book by Everett. It will not be my last. If you're here for the TLDR, I absolutely love this book. But there are some. I do have some other stuff to say about that, but I loved it. I really did. When a pair of detectives from the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation arrive in Money, Mississippi to investigate a series of brutal murders, they find at each crime scene an unexpected second dead body. Already piqued my interest. That of a man who resembles Emmett Till. I'm gonna warn you now, there's gonna be some laughing in here, but I find none of this stuff funny. It makes me nervous to talk about this, and I laugh when I'm nervous. So, but once again, if you want to call me all different kinds of things, you can down there in the doobly-doo. It helps engagement. After meeting resistance from the local sheriff, his deputy, the coroner, and a string of racist white townsfolk, the MBI detectives suspect these are killings of retribution. Then they discover eerily similar murders taking place in rapid succession all over the country. The past, it seems, refuses to be buried, or it should say, stay buried. The uprising has begun. In this provocative page turner that takes direct aim at racism and police violence, Percival Everett offers a devastating critique of white supremacy and confronts the painful legacy of lynching in the United States. Remember how I told you that I was going to be laughing but I found none of this funny? This book is fucking hilarious, and that is a problem for me. My pasty, pale, privileged white ass felt uncomfortable reading this book, and I probably should have. But yeah, so how does he get away with writing a book about murder scenes wherein there are racist people being murdered, and also there's someone who looks like Emmett Till at the crime scene? So let me give you the actual setup. So there's a murder, a very brutal murder. If you're a gore fan, you'll like the beginning of the book because there's some very visceral, disgusting scenes of aftermath. I guess I got one lone facial pube over here. I don't want to call it a mustache. I might offend the boys, you know. There, there's some scenes in here, but it gets old after a while because every single scene is the same. But that's not why you read this book. Basically, they are killing. I guess there's no other way to put it. They're killing white people in the way that white people have been killing black people, Asian people, Hispanic people, since America began. I don't want to say the word Lynching. It's not that I'm afraid to say it, but the algorithm will bury the video, and I'd like a couple of you to watch this. That's a very, very heavy tones around that. It is the theme. I don't think, yeah, he doesn't even say it. It says police violence back here, but it's not really about police violence, not just police violence. He tackles the Klan, he tackles the police violence stuff, but mostly he tackles the Southern culture and almost the religious aspect of that word, Lynchin. Um, there, there's a lot in this book that, while the back and forth between Ed and Jim is a high point in this, but I can see people who are tired of the Marvel dialogue, the Gilmore Girls quick-witted, kind of back and forth. I can see people who don't like that not liking this book, so keep that in mind. It is not a serious. Here's where my conflict comes in. It is not a serious book, but it is a book about a serious topic that is taken very, very lightly. Every single scene of murder is hilarious. Every autopsy, every time. You got some characters in here that say the N-word every other word in some sections of dialogue, and these are, of course, racist white people. In fact, I think the only people who don't say the N-word in this book are black people. What made me the most uncomfortable was they kept finding people who had been group assaulted, and these are real people. And at first, I was talking to my wife about this. It felt disrespectful that he would use Emmett Till and he would use people who had actually been affected in real life. Then I got to thinking about it. It's his story to tell. It's maybe as tribute. It is a tale of retribution. It is a tale of revenge for the 7,000 plus people who had been murdered in the South, and really everywhere. Chicago, it happens all over the place, but mostly this takes place in the South. There's more than 7,000 people who were killed during, ever since America got running, right? But there's one part in here that really struck a chord with me, and I'll probably never forget it. There's a character named Mama Z, and she's reflecting on genocide. What she said is, genocide only occurs when it occurs quickly. Otherwise, they don't call it genocide. The thought there is that all of these people have been affected black people have been affected over hundreds of years in this country. They've been murdered. They've been, the word I'm not saying here. All of that stuff. And I know there's going to be some pushback. People mean, say the word. I literally can't, they will take down my video at this point. I'm dancing around it. But to think that the only reason why what we've been doing here in America is not called genocide is because it happened over such a long period of time. I'm also reminded of, I don't know if this is actually a Megadeth quote like from Dave Mustaine, or if it's if it's something from history. You kill one, you're a murderer. Kill many, you're a conqueror. Kill them all, and you're God. It's like the more people who are murdered, the more status you get. But in this case, there wasn't enough quickly enough for it to be considered a genocide. This book is something else. Also, there's absolutely no character development in it whatsoever. The character development I can't even say that it's character development. It's just some characters turn out not to be the people that you think they are. Not in a plot twisty kind of way, but some people you might see as pure and innocent or whatever end up, being there's really no bad people in here other than the people who are dying. There's no villains in my eyes in this book other than the people who are actually, passing away in the book. If you can't tell, this just talking about this book makes me uncomfortable, and I love stuff like that. I love books that make me think. I love books that make me reevaluate. And while I'm perfectly aware of American history, and what certain people are trying to erase from history. I'm perfectly aware of all this stuff, but there were certain key phrases in this book that made me go, wow, you really couldn't have said it any better. Everett has this succinct economy of prose that that's punchy, but it's also deceptively simple. I mean, if the average person were to read this and a James Patterson book, because no chapter in here is more than 5 pages long. Most of them are 1 to 3 pages long. That's the chapters. There's over 100 chapters in this book. It's only 300 pages. It blows right by. I was able to read it between between deliveries, even over the course of just 3 days. It reads very, very fast. But by the end of it, I feel like I have read a much bigger novel. Again, there's no character development whatsoever. This is all about plot and theme. And please, for the love of God, if you're going to read this, bring your thinking glasses, your thinking goggles, put on your thinking cap. I said that back. Anyways, pay attention, because there's a lot of stuff in this book that you might miss if you don't pay attention. One last word of warning: if lynchising is a trigger for you, or racial violence, period, if that is a trigger for you, you probably need to skip the book. But I think that's kind of obvious with everything else that I said already. But yeah, I would I would love to hear from people who have read this book. It's if you like being made to feel uncomfortable, I think I already said that. Yeah, if you've read this, I'd be interested to see what you think, especially if you are not white. And read this, and I say that because there's Chinese history. There's a bunch of stuff in here about the people who were attacked and maimed and mutilated over the course of American history. There's a reason for when I say 7,000. Even there was more, obviously, but in the book that 7,000 number is important because there's a person keeping track of them, but has only kept track of them while they were alive. Okay, so that's why I said I know there's more. I know there's more. But anyways, if you've read this, let me know what you thought about it down there in the doobly-doo. I'm giving it 5 stars for basically 3 reasons. It made me feel uncomfortable, it made me think, and it made me laugh a lot. And I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that. And any book that makes me question my reaction to it is a damn good book, because nowadays I've seen it all. Anyways, so yeah, until next time, I have been E, you have been you. This has been another book review, and a hell of a rambling one. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.